Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gloria and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I wanted to go through all of the Hoyas that I currently have in Leca and kind of give you guys like an update on which ones are doing well and which ones aren't, and just show you guys everything that's going on. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And yeah, let's get started. So let me show you kind of the Hoyas that are doing well first, because let's start off on a positive note. So this one is my Hoya numeroides Pinkrona. Look at the size of this. It's literally humongous and it's just doing so well. It's starting to trellis up and it literally didn't grow for the longest time when it was in soil. So I'm really impressed by the growth that it's given me during this Leca transition. And let me just show you guys the roots, because that's what we're all here for, really. So look at those roots. They look so good. Hoyas normally don't have like really thick roots or extensive root systems, but since being in Leca, I'm like just so impressed. It's literally growing out of the drainage hole and I honestly can't believe it. Given how low maintenance this plant is, just super easy plants. I highly recommend this for beginners and I love this one so much. Another really happy plant that's in Leca that I unfortunately can't show you the roots include this wonderful Hoya Bella reverse Ferragata. So this has the variegation in the middle with the green outer edging, and this one has like literally doubled in size since I put it into Leca. Like there's so many new shoots, there's so many new leaves. It's looking so full. I can't believe it. Unfortunately, I don't have it in like a clear pot, so you can't really see the roots, but I'm pretty sure it's happy because it's been constantly growing. Although I did find a mealybugs, so plural. I found mealybugs on this plant along with my rotundiflora. I've been treating this with cotton swabs and a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and I just like spot treat just to kind of get rid of the mealybugs, and they haven't really been too much of a hassle. It's mainly been on like the new growth, so that's where I usually see these pests, but for the most part they're not like thrips, so I'm not too concerned. But mealybugs are a little bit annoying. They're kind of ugly. They're like these little white dots with like legs. They're kind of gross. But yeah, this one is doing great despite the mealybug infestation. Next, I want to show you guys my wonderful Hoya Victolinoides. It's definitely a really hard name to say. This one is my favorite Hoya in my favorite pink pot with the cute little legs. I love this pot. It fits so perfectly with this plant, I think, and it literally grew out this entire tendril that I had to trellis up, and it like ends right here. So as you can see, it's a long ass tendril. But I see little baby leaves growing. I think it's probably gonna take its sweet ass time, to be honest, and grow eventually, but for now it's kind of just tendriling out. So I mean, it means it's happy. And let me show you guys the roots. So I bought this as a rooted cutting and it didn't have like substantial roots, but I mean it was rooted, so don't get me wrong, it wasn't like a bad plant, but just look at the roots that have grown since then. So it's clearly so much happier in Leca compared to when it was growing in moss. There's so many roots. I'm really happy. This plant did not have any transplant shock, no transition whatsoever. It just like thrived in Leca. So I'm really happy about that. I can't say that for all my plants, but this one definitely is one of the easier ones to transition to Leca if you're kind of going down that route. Next up, I'll show you another kind of semi-happy story. So remember this Hoya Apache that literally rotted very quickly within the first couple of days that it got transferred to Leca. So I literally had to keep it in water for the longest time, and once kind of water roots started to form like little baby nubs, that's when I transferred it back into Leca, because I figured let's try again. So this is how it's looking like. It definitely has roots now because I saw it peeking out through the top here, I kind of don't want to disturb it too much because the leca is attached to the roots, so it's really hard to show. But trust me, it's finally rooted. It's a little bit bleached actually, so it's a lighter green in color compared to when I first had it, which was kind of like a darker green. Okay, not a darker green, but like a medium green. And I think it's because my grow lights are just a little too strong. So I originally had it going on for 14 hours a day. I've since reduced it to 10 hours a day, and hopefully with the kind of lower duration, it'll like not bleach it anymore. I don't know, but yeah, Hoya Patriclata is doing great. It's finally rooted. It hasn't grown any new leaves, so nothing I can really show you guys. Next is my sad Hoya Astralis Leca. So I noticed out of the 3 pieces that were thriving in Leca, it for some reason decided to rot just randomly. I probably filled the water reservoir a little bit too high. It started to rot and the roots became really sad, so I chopped off all the rot, I replanted it into Leca, and I think it's okay now. So the leaves are firmer. I only noticed it because the leaves were going really flimsy despite it being like in a water reservoir, so I was really confused. And this new growth at the top was literally staying the same size for I don't even know how long. It was like weeks. So I was like, what is going on? Normally the new leaves come out small, but they grow over days, and after like a week or 2 it should be like done growing. But this one was just staying the same size. It's finally decided to grow a little bit more now, so I think it's kind of bounced back, and it still has roots, so it wasn't like rootless, but it did experience a little bit of root rot in the Leca. Now it's recovered, so kind of happy about that. But yeah, that was a little bit sad when I found out. This one is my Hoya Elliptica, which is the turtle shell Hoya. I really like this one because the venation on the leaves are just so unique. They look like turtle shells, so just look at that. Super cute. Trying not to drip water everywhere, but this one has also rooted really well, so I'm gonna try to show you guys. Here's a good look at the roots, just right over here. So this one has rooted. I do have like 5 different cuttings in here, so I'm trying to make a full pot, and I think it's starting to look really cute. I do see a little bit of a growth point coming out, so I think it means it's ready to give me a new leaf. I know these are pretty fast growers once it's like rooted and established, so can't wait for this to grow really nice and big, and I could trellis it up, or I could chop it up and give it to friends. Just very happy about this one. Didn't really give me trouble, probably because it was unrooted, so I didn't have to transition soil roots to the Leca. I find that usually gives me the biggest issue. From moss to Leca, it's usually okay, but soil to Leca is like so finicky and tricky. But yeah, if it's unrooted cuttings, I mean, you can't really go wrong. I mean, the only thing is if it just dies on you because it doesn't root, but for the most part, it's okay. So we'll go through these 4 different Hoyas that I have. Let's start off with the happiest one, which is my Hoya Memoria. So this one, when I transferred it to Leca, it was literally rootless because I rotted it in soil. So it wasn't even rotted from the transition. It was just rotted as it was trying to like grow in soil, so if that makes sense. But it has since rooted so well. I see so many roots from the top, but it's kind of covered by Leca, so I don't really want to disturb it too much. But as you can see, there's literally new leaves. This one didn't grow for me all summer. I got it as a rooted cutting from my friend. So I got this as a rooted cutting from my friend, and he said it was a really easy Hoya, but I managed to rot it. That's why it didn't grow. It didn't die on me either. It just literally looked the exact same. But since being in Leca, it decided to shoot out 2 new leaves and root insanely fast. I honestly could not believe it. There's so many roots. Despite it being in a black container, I see it all from the top, and it's just really happy. So that one is my Hoya Memoria. The other one is my sad Calistophylla, which decided to rot in Leca, and it's still a rootless Hoya. So sadly, this is how it's looking like right now, and the leaves are pretty flimsy and soft. I don't know if you guys can tell, like when I just bend it, it's so bendable. So it's not rooted yet. I don't think it's gonna root anytime soon. This one seems to be a kind of a tricky one to root, so I'm hoping that it will one day root. Obviously not now, but it did not like the transition to Leca for sure. This one is my Hoya Polyneura, which you guys know I literally hated this plant for the past like 6 months because it would not grow for me. And when it did grow, it grew like super tiny leaves, which was just not cute at all. It's not like the beautiful fishtail Hoyas that everybody else has. But since chopping it up and sticking it into Leca, look at that new little growth. Do you see it? It's right over here. But it's literally growing 2 new leaves, and I could not be happier, honestly. I can't tell if the other pieces are rooted because, I mean, I see a few roots on the side, but I can't tell if this is from like the original plant because there's one like base plant and then just like a bunch of cuttings. But there are some roots over there, and for the most part, it seems happy. We'll see how these new leaves look. If they're really small again, I don't know. I'm probably gonna get rid of this Hoya because it's just not doing it for me. I don't know why the leaves come in so small. They're not fat and fishtail like they're supposed to be. Next up is my Hoya lacyonosa silver Eskimo. So this one decided to also rot in soil, and since then it's been transferred to Leca. There are some Leca roots, but it's still looking a little bit wrinkly, so I think it just needs more time to acclimate to the Leca environment. I did upsize the pot a little bit from like a 2-inch to like, I don't know, 2.5 inch. It doesn't have many roots, so I didn't find like a reason for it to be in a really big pot. And that way it fits very nicely in this little organizer tray where I keep all the water reservoir. So yeah, these are the 4 Hoyas that, I guess there's some good and some bad. My Hoya globulosa is also doing well. I mean, I see some roots kind of like at the top here. It's very hard to see because there's literally a label, and unfortunately I don't want to take it out because it seems to be doing fine in here. I don't really see any new growth or any indication of new growth, but it seems to be rooted well and acclimated pretty nicely to the Leca. And the leaves are not flimsy, they're nice and hard. But that's the only update I have on the globulosa. I really wish it would just throw out a new leaf for me, but it has not. My Hoya danangheinenensis Vietnam. So this one I transferred from kind of like a moss soil medium to Leca, and it seems to be doing okay. It threw out a super long tendril that starts right here and it goes all the way around and it comes back out. So it literally has a really long tendril. I don't really see leaves growing much. They're like very tiny leaves, and those generally fall off if they don't like grow immediately. So if it just like kind of stays the way it is, I'm probably not going to get new leaves. It's just a long tendril, but at least it's doing something versus when it was in soil, it did absolutely nothing. And I find this to be a little bit of a tricky Hoya. I don't know about you guys. Like, do you guys have a problem with this? Does this need super high humidity, or is it just me? I don't know, but that is the Hoya Vietnam. My other Hoyas here haven't really done much. I think they're rooted. I can't really tell. This one was an unrooted cutting by Sunrise, so I don't really think I need to show you guys, but it is really pretty because it's like nicely sun stressed. Look at that. Beautiful red. But yeah, I think those are pretty much all the updates I have for my Hoyas. If I didn't mention a Hoya, it means it literally didn't do anything. It didn't show any change. It didn't show root growth. It's just like doing its thing, and like doing its thing meaning it's doing nothing. So yeah, pretty much that is all I wanted to show you guys today for the Hoyas that are in Leca, the good and the bad. And I will for sure do a Leca kind of tutorial how-to situation coming up, but stay tuned for that. I will go very in-depth on how I transition my plants to Leca, what I do when they're in Leca, how I check on them, whatever, nutrients, all the things. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Comment down below if you have any plants that are thriving in Leca, particularly Hoyas, because I want to know about your Hoyas. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.